What is going on, everyone?
How's it going?
We are back with a Resident Evil 9 gameplay / developer breakdown. We got 2 developer messages, and we are breaking down both of them in one video today. So we had the Capcom Spotlight event. Thank you for everybody who came out and watched it. And we did get some new glimpses of Resident Evil 9 gameplay and all that stuff, and we got to hear what the developers have to say about it. So let's get right into it. You ready, John?
Yeah, I am.
So,
we're not sure if this was what was shown to some people earlier or not, because there's some conflicting information and some gameplay that like some people have said they've already seen before. Like some insiders, IGN and stuff probably saw this way like a couple weeks ago. But this is the first time the public is seeing it.
It's new to us.
So we figured let's break it down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's get right into it. Likely mature. Rawr. Requiem. Let me lower this a little bit for our end. All right, so concept. Let's go.
開発のコンセプトは病みつきになる恐怖というのを掲げてます。
There's our director, the RE7 director.
気持ちよさ、そこのカタルシスっていうこと。
Okay, so this is a breakdown, so if you guys don't like us constantly pausing and talking, then you might not like this video, but that's what we do here on LTRE. So the first thing I want to do is mention his, the addictive fear.
Yeah.
That they keep throwing that around with these interviews. So he wants to create this more survival horror feel with this fear that is, almost like addictive. You're going back to try to discover more, to try to find more. There's something that pulls you in further. Overcoming your fears, as he says here.
Yeah.
So,
脳汁が出るんですよね。
again, other new shots that we saw in some little screenshots here and there, but stuff like this area is something that we haven't seen yet, at least as far as us.
それ自体がこれもっとやりたい、遊びたいっていう中毒性を持う。そこに徹底的にフォーカスしてみたら。
Looks kind of maybe like the hotel. Oh shit! Sister can be located at. I just saw that on the side.
Yeah, sister can be located at.
Yeah, so maybe this is this kind of seems like some kind of entrance to maybe the hotel.
Yeah,
But if it says sister, maybe this is a medical facility.
it could be. Yeah, I mean the hospital is what people were also saying. I mean she seemed to be strapped down
To the gurney.
to the gurney, and apparently the demo picked up from when she got off the table.
Is
So
this some type of sanitarium, maybe?
could be.
Smoking's not allowed. Please be respectful. Sister can be located at square.
And, we see her with the lighter here, and we know she does get a gun, but this is probably how she starts off the demo here. But as the director's saying, that intense focus, while scary, makes for a really fun game.
けどゲームとしても楽しい、そういうのが作れるんじゃないかなっ
And that served as our launching point for Requiem.
ていうのがレクイエムの出発。
I like how she kind of flicks the lighter. This is room 203. And right there, holy crap, look how tall that stalker enemy is.
So, in hospital context, sister is a traditional term, particularly in the UK and some Commonwealth countries, for a senior experienced nurse who is in charge of the hospital ward or unit.
So this is, in fact, the
signifying
hospital.
a leadership position.
Okay.
Is an AI summary, but that's I believe it because I've heard that term before.
Okay.
That looks very much like a Lady D crest on the door right there.
Yeah, like, look at that.
Very interesting.
Look how tall the stalker enemy is. I just want to go back a little bit.
Yeah.
徹底的にフォーカスしてみたら怖いけどゲームとしても楽しい、そういうのが作れるんじゃないかな
So
っていう
she's
のが
getting chased right now.
出発点でした。
Yeah, I mean, that is... You can kind of see her face with the blonde
Yeah, you
streaks
can.
going down, so it's very dark on purpose.
It
Kinda
does
like to
look
hide
feminine.
It does.
It does look like a feminine monster, which is why me and you talked a little bit about the possibility of this monster actually being Alyssa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very eerie.
Very eerie.
Would be a
and
great decision.
It seems to be going off of... Again, going back to maybe an RE7 stalker type, more consistent like Baker, as opposed to Lady D, like you were saying earlier. So,
Which, I mean, now that we see the word sister, maybe that's the sister. Maybe it's the ward of the hospital. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why it's in this area. That's
It could
another
be.
potential theory.
バイオハザードレクイエムは、シングルプレイかつ、
Masachika Kiwata.
And they kind of, like him saying this right now is an obvious thing.
They did say it on the Steam listing and the PlayStation listing,
Right.
that it was a single-player offline game.
So I think they're trying to just kind of say, hey, we're not going to do this, multiplayer add-on or anything. This game should just serve as a single player, very much like an RE7.
Yeah.
Where it had DLC, but there was no online add-on for it.
And this sentence makes a lot more sense once we get to the next video, part of the video.
Yes.
Because they're going to mention what they started
And they show it.
with, and they showed some of it, which is really crazy. So we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, that's coming up.
のゲームとなってます。バイオハザードで一番重要なのは恐怖体験だと思うんですけれども、今作においてはその恐怖体験っていうところに
Trying to go back to the horror, the fear factor, a key feature to the gameplay. So that's an obvious statement. Well, let's get into the character.
今回の主人公は FBI 捜査官グレース・アッシュクロフト
There she is.
内向的で怖がり
I just want to say I love this render, by the way.
I do
this looks
too. I
great.
think Grace looks great.
Grace looks great. She does when we first saw this, that's when we first got it confirmed that she does in fact use a gun, because before we got this render, a lot of people were scared that she wasn't going to have anything to fight
Rightfully
with.
so.
Right.
Rightfully so. But yes.
バイオハザードとしては割と新しいタイプのキャラクターを作ろうとしていますプレイヤーと同じ目線で一緒になって怖がれるこういうキャラクター
So that's an important little thing they keep saying, is they really wanted this to feel like a character that is experiencing this for the first time. Yes, she has FBI experience, but she is not used to what she's about to see in RE9 Requiem. So the same perspective as the player, being scared, having that fear, taking those breaths, taking the approach of how she's going to go into a horrific situation isn't going to be like your regular Resident Evil heroes. So very much similar to Ethan. That's just like,
物語の中でもちろん体も恐怖
So she's holding
A Zippo
Yeah.
lighter, and it looks like it looked almost like a chemical bottle, like a dropper bottle.
Yeah.
Something
she's
you would
picking up
mix paint
something.
with or something.
Yeah. And it looks, so if you notice, we talked about this on the podcast, but the red, the blood, she's obviously injured, right? So this is after her getting off of the gurney, and she has the lighter at first. So she doesn't quite have her gun yet. So we're assuming this is what people played in the demo. What did you pick up on?
I'm wondering if maybe that's one half of a doorknob in her hand.
Oh,
Because that's when you
yeah.
take apart a doorknob, they have like a bar or two, and then the other side has the hole for that bar to go in. That's the key fit.
That could
kind
be.
of.
Yeah, that'd be
So
a
I
very
wonder-
RE thing. A
Yeah,
doorknob.
I wonder if it's
Yeah.
if it's a doorknob, but I have to see it in motion again. Back it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it kind of looks like a medicine bottle. Another detail about Grace I really like is that she's wearing a watch, which her mother also wore watches. So that's pretty cool too.
そういうキャラクター
As a
を
little shout out.
物語の中でもちろん体
You see, like that little bit right there. It
Yeah.
it does look like a doorknob
That's
from this
like
angle.
Her thumb holding
Yeah.
it. Yeah, like this. She's holding it like this. It kind of looks like almost like some kind of doorknob, maybe, or like some part of a puzzle. It actually doesn't. Now that I see it like this, it doesn't look like a bottle at all.
Yeah.
It looks like something metal, which is interesting
Yeah.
because metal is a theme.
Yeah, it is.
恐怖を克服し成長していくんですけども
She learns to overcome her fears. Okay, this looks fucking crazy. So this, I mean, it doesn't look like a main hall for a hospital, but I mean, this could be some fucked up, version of a hospital, obviously.
It definitely
So-
looks like a hospital, but in terms of how sanitary and the color choices. But it looks like an old school hospital,
Yeah,
not like something you would see.
Right, very old school. You got your
in
main desk
2028.
when you walk in and stuff like that.
Very reminiscent of the RPD.
Yeah, and her handgun as well. But
So it looks like the FBI standard issue firearm is the Glock, which I indirectly answered a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
I didn't actually know that. I'm not going to pretend like I did. It says Glock 17, Glock 19 are standard. However, there are other weapons that they tend to use. They are all 9mm, which would
Okay.
fit Resident Evil.
Yeah.
That to me does not look like either of those guns. So I would probably wager this is a gun that she didn't bring with her, but she found in the hospital.
And as she's entering the main hall, she probably just got it or just picked it up.
Or she's using this gun instead of a standard issue gun because she has a hard time handling the bigger drawback, maybe the bigger kickback of a gun.
Because it looked like in the maybe we can go back here, but in the concept art, did she have that same handgun?
She did.
She did.
She did. Yeah, you can kind of see it has like that weird cut.
Okay, yeah, I
right
see
there.
that. Yeah, yeah. So it is in fact the same handgun.
ていくんですけども FBI 捜査官なので銃の扱いも慣れてますし
Reloading.
冷静な推理力とかも発揮しつつ
Little toolbox action going on here.
レオンを主人公にしよう
So this is what's going to make a lot of people either upset,
Yes.
or it's going to, it's going to definitely spark up some conversation. So this is from the director himself saying, "We always thought about making Leon the protagonist."
っていうのは実はずっとあったんですけどもどうしてもレオンを使った
But making a horror game based around him is difficult.
Yeah.
So they're talking about modern day Leon, right? So what you
Yes.
basically got in RE4 remake, essentially. Because obviously RE2 Leon is a rookie dealing with this on this first day on the job, of course.
Yeah.
So this goes into the rumors of people saying, oh, it could have been Leon. It was going to be Leon. Apparently they were thinking about making it Leon, but they just thought that making this a scary game, Grace is pulling that out because Grace is, again, somebody who is an FBI agent, but is more of a bookworm, in the book, so to speak, and really into the cases, and probably a very good investigator and researcher, but you're not going to have the superhero-like abilities, which is something they're going to mention going forward in these videos. It's definitely a different response than we expected, I would say.
バッチバチのホラーっていうのが割と難しくて落ちてきたバケツに
He wouldn't jump at something like a falling
そういう
bucket.
レオンってそんなみんな見たくないやろっていうところで
No one wants to see Leon scared of every little thing, which
Yeah.
makes sense. I mean, in RE2 remake, again, they could get away with it. Now,
Because he's the rookie.
he's the rookie.
He's the rookie. Yeah.
Now, what do you think of his mentality of, like, we wanted to use Leon being your favorite character?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on what he has to say? Because I feel like this right here is going to have fans talking online for
Yeah.
the rest of their days about what his comments are.
Yeah, so we even saw that like some of the other respected community members, like Andy,
Yes.
said like
Shout out
Leon,
Biohazard Classified.
Yeah, Leon's not suited for horror. Like what?
Yeah,
I don't
what
know
do
if
you
he was
guys
positive
think?
or negative.
He was
but
kind of just like, what do
he's
you
just like,
guys
what do you think?
Yeah.
I know people aren't going to like this, but it makes complete sense to me. There's a reason why Leon is in every one of the movies, right? The canon movies. There's a reason why he's in them. It's because he's a superhero. That's what they say in this. That's what they said before.
Yep, they're going to bring it up soon.
Chris is
Yeah.
also a superhero. They talked about this when they were talking about why Chris is in Seven and Village, but not the main protagonist. It's because wherever Leon and Chris and Jill and even Claire at this point, wherever our main characters go, they are just so strong. The only way to tell a cool story is action. You have to have your John Wick moment with Leon and Chris. After what we just saw with RE4 remake, yeah, it doesn't. This setting doesn't fit Leon. It doesn't mean that it doesn't necessarily Leon couldn't work. It just means that it wouldn't be a very believable story because he would come raffle stomp this situation.
And they want to sell this horror, this addictive fear
It's
concept
hard.
with Grace.
It's kind of like, I'll use Batman and Superman as an example. Okay, a very iconic DC characters that everybody knows. We could throw in Spider-Man if you wanted for a Marvel side.
Sure.
You do not relate to those characters. Most people, I would argue 100%, maybe 99.9999% of the people listening to this right now are not billionaires. You're not rich. You're not trained in 7,000 different types of combat, right? You're not Batman. You don't read and watch Batman because you're related to Batman. He's a superhero. It's the same thing with Leon. You're not Leon. You're not getting thrown up 50 feet in the air and coming down with a roundhouse kick. Shooting Suzuki bikes you drive off of a Empire State Building.
Yeah.
You're not not that it's the Empire State Building, but I'm being facetious for a reason. They're larger than life characters because they're the babies of the franchise. They're the ones that started it all. As much as we dog on Ethan, this is very much Ethan 2.0, but the difference is they're not trying to make us be Ethan.
With the VR and the first person
They're trying,
only.
they're trying to give us a character that is more similar to how we would be if we were all of a sudden thrusted into the situation.
Who is connected to our lore.
A lore,
which is even
yeah.
better than Ethan, where
Yeah.
it's just another guy that comes in that we don't know.
This is what Ethan should have been. Ethan all along should have been a character that was not supposed to be you. That we should have had traditional cutscenes, which this game's probably going to have.
I hope so. Fingers crossed, bro.
I mean, we already saw the Nathan Dempsey and
Yeah.
the death. Like, this is fine. It's going to have traditional cutscenes, which Village had a couple at the end with Chris. You're going to see this stuff improved because they heard the feedback. As much as the RE7 and Village stands love the game, there is still a whole other side of the community that fucking hate those games. There's people like us who can look at them for what they are and say, 7, Jack Baker is the best stalker enemy. 7 has really good horror.
It does.
7 does make you feel helpless in some cases. Sometimes a little too helpless, but that doesn't mean we don't see it for what it is, which is, I'm not Ethan. I don't have a wife. You might have a wife, but it's not Mia.
Yeah.
Right? Like somebody out there playing might have a wife that might be named Mia, but it's not Mia Winters.
No.
It's not the one Chris shot 100 times. No, I know that was Miranda. I'm just kidding. But this is the way to do it. Have a more relatable character, even if it's going to be first person, third person, doesn't matter. You're going to see her face.
And Leon can still show up at the end.
Which is what his role would be more suited for. Have this big crazy action section at the end or not.
Yeah.
Or not. Yeah. I could see a couple things that could go wrong. I could see like the final boss having to be killed by Leon. That would feel bad because it's like, well, why did I go through this whole journey with Grace if she's not going to have her moment? But there's no reason Leon can't be sent in to save her. And I'm saying Leon specifically, not because he's my favorite character. It could be Jill. It could be Chris.
Any Raccoon City
It could be Rebecca.
survivor.
It could be anybody.
Yeah.
Right? It could be fucking Billy.
I think it would be appropriate if it was a Raccoon City survivor.
Me too.
I think that would bring this full circle,
Yeah.
considering we are going back to Raccoon City for the 30th anniversary.
And it is to uncover the really real truth. That is what they said.
That's what they keep selling.
It is going to be the rest for the tragedy, the rest of the dead. That's what they said.
Yep.
Like, they want to put this behind them and move on. You got to bring somebody back, and especially if you're going to the RPD, my money's on Leon, just because it's a more iconic place for him.
Definitely.
Despite the fact that the stars are in the RPD off camera, even in this new remake timeline, Jill doesn't even go there.
No.
Right?
Carlos goes instead.
Carlos goes instead, which I liked the change. Me personally, I liked the story of it, but I still miss Jill going there. I'm not going to say that that's better, but I do like what they did with Carlos instead going. And Tyrell, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I think I'm on board with this. I think it makes complete sense. I do think it's funny how we've come full circle and now people are asking for more action because they don't want horror. What they really are saying is that everybody just wants more Leon, Jill, Chris, Claire.
Yes.
It can't be that forever, but I do see where people are coming from. I do want more of those characters because I feel like we still haven't gotten our Leon Jill game.
No, and at this point, and we're going to get into it, at this point in the timeline, Leon would be 51 when this game takes place.
About, yeah. I'm not sure exactly. I didn't fact check that, but he's 21 in Raccoon City.
And if it's 30 years after Raccoon City,
he would be 51.
He'd be 51.
Yeah, about 30 years, he'd be 51, yeah.
Which is, so, yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's
that's just to
pretty
give you guys an idea.
じゃあホラーと食い合わせ悪いよなっていうのがやっぱりあります。
He is a bad match for horror in the sense of what they're trying to achieve.
Yes.
The vision of what they're trying to achieve. Not that he's a bad character. That's not what they're saying. That's what it's going to be twisted into.
Absolutely.
That's not what they're saying. You heard it here first, guys, gals. You just need to know They love Leon. Trust me. They love our boy.
He is the poster boy.
He is the poster boy of this franchise, regardless of how people want to feel about it. It's just he's the one that sells. Chris is close second. Chris is the Captain America, right? Like that's kind of like the way that they're written. It's not that they're saying Leon doesn't fit the series. They're saying that Leon is above where they're trying to go in this story.
And to make it scary, they have to have a character that isn't, like you mentioned, a superhero. Isn't somebody who could do that.
Yeah, and what they said is true. You know there would be people being like, why the fuck is 51-year-old Leon flinching at doors? That's exactly the way people would be. He's literally answering the question in the video.
Yeah. No,
why Leon's not in this? Or why Leon's not the main character, rather. It's because the setting doesn't fit him. But Raccoon City does. So I hope he makes it in towards the end.
I can't.
As some kind of non-playable character, even. A savior. I don't want them to do the whole phoned in fucking Chris Redfield flies down from the helicopter and is like, I'm Redfield. And then there'll be a DLC. No, put him as a playable section towards the end.
I don't like that. Evolution.
ファーストトレーラーご覧になって分かるようにグレース自身がまあすごいいろんな目に遭うんですね。PV で断片的には入ってるんですけれども、逆さずり一つとっても顔の赤らみ高揚感であったりとか、うっ血してる表現、あとは髪の毛もかなり力を入れてまして。
So, yeah, this is just them pretty much just saying they really wanted to get the hair right. They wanted to get the sweat on her face, the eyes. Like they're really trying to push the RE engine as far as it can go. And they mentioned the hair here. They actually called a professional in for this wig that they're about to talk about.
そこからシミュレーションして CG に落とし込んだりとかもしています。
バイオハザードレクイエムはですね、
Yeah. Really what it boils down to is a harken back to the original vision for Resident Evil. They want it to feel closer to cinematic perfection. They want you to see what you see in horror movies.
Yeah.
The sweat, the blood glistening, the fear in the eyes. That's what they're really going for. And I don't know about you, but that's cool. I think it's a great idea. How do you feel about them being so meticulous with like the colors of their cheeks and stuff like that?
I like that. I like the fact that they really are pushing the RE engine because we've seen the gradual progression from RE7 till now.
Yeah.
So I think it's come a long way, and I love that attention to detail. I think it's great, and I think the hair is only going to look better as they keep putting, they keep emphasizing on these little details. At this point, yeah, it's. I feel like the Rex engine is going to be coming sooner than later. Probably not with this game, but I feel like we're just about to make that next step into the next gen. And here we go. We got the first and third persons. They're about to actually show us. So here we go. We got the light reflecting through the doors here, all in first person. This looks like a child's room. In the hospital, or like a kid waiting room. You got like the dinosaur on the table. You got the books flung across the floor and stuff like that. And this right here, as you can see, this is our stalker enemy in the red, as we're kind of like crouched in this first person perspective. So look at its fucking head, bro. Like that looks insane. So I think they really wanted to go into, the first and third person perspective thing with it feeling a lot more fluent and a lot more just immersive than it was, because we saw how it was with Village, and they acknowledged that in the interview that we actually read that's on the PlayStation blog as well, just about how they wanted to really make it feel like two different games within the first and the third person perspective. So that interview went into a little bit more detail than what we got here, but you basically get the same kind of idea. And then here we go in third person. So these are all just glimpses. This is definitely a hospital.
It's definitely, yeah. Here's the staff room.
Raccoon City. This is the big one right here.
滅菌作戦以降
Yeah, there's the 30 years.
So 30 years after the missile strike in Raccoon City, which was in 1998. So, you figure 30 years.
October 1st, 1998.
October 1st, 1998.
Yeah, so it's possible that this, if this is about 30 years after, it could also technically be 2029.
And we
Because a
saw
full year is the end of 2029.
And we saw in the trailer the rain coming down.
Yep.
Imagine it just rains like how it did on October 1st and the falling rain, and you get the falling rain. Like that's just little callbacks to
30年
that.
近く経つんですけども
So we have an idea of when this takes place.
行動します。
その当時アンブレラ事件っていうのでシリーズがヒットして、それ以降もさまざまなキャラクターたちが、いろんなラクーンシティで起きた事件をきっかけに立ち向かっていくようになったり、人間成長したり、そこに今回この表現のメスを入れるっていうのが作り手としてはやっぱりかなり。
So that is not really surprising, considering you're trying to pull from so many games and so much lore that this guy's like, hey, this was a daunting undertaking that they were nervous about, going back to Raccoon City, going back to these characters that people know and love, going back to these conspiracies, these stories, things like that. So
Yeah.
it definitely is hard when you have a franchise that's 30 years old and has so much going on with its stories and characters. So,
And this, I would imagine most of the people on this team were not on the original teams. So
No.
this is their first new entry that is going to go back to Raccoon City since Outbreak File 2.
and I wonder who is in charge of the continuity as well in this new team. That's the biggest thing, right? 'Cause-
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Operation Raccoon City was also technically Raccoon City. But
Yeah, it was more of, again, like we were saying earlier on
they didn't
stream,
have to worry about.
it was more of a what if, so
Characters,
you can
yeah.
twist it a little bit,
緊張感を持って臨ませてもらったっていうのが大きかったですね。
That's all
ラクーン事
original.
件に関わったもしくはラクーン事件に巻き込まれて大きく人生を変わってしまったり、命を落としてしまったりとそういった登場人物がたくさん出ます。レクイエムは彼らに向け
The game is a requiem, a eulogy to those who came before.
Yeah.
So that's a very
And
interesting
this-
thing for the director.
It just makes me feel like the uncovering that they're going to do is to figure out who was actually buying the T-Virus from Umbrella. Like one of the things that I really like about Revelations 1 is that they actually arrest somebody. Right? Like usually the bad guys are bad until the point where they literally get blown to smithereens by the
You have
main
to
character.
fight them,
Yeah.
basically, yeah.
And it would be interesting if this is a requiem, a eulogy to those who came before. That could be taken in a lot of different ways. What do you think? What
I
you got?
think-
Some theories, or
I think it could be just like, this... It could be a bookmark or a bookend on this cycle of Resident Evil, as it is.
because I can't imagine they're going to find files about characters. Like this is all fucking burned to a crisp.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you'll be lucky, depending on where the hospital... I mean, the hospital looks pretty fucking pristine to be in the heart of the city, so I think what we were saying on our podcast about it could be on the outskirts, it could be maybe not as touched.
Or the hotel,
that
is
too.
the hotel and the hospital the same fucking place?
Yeah, I don't...
Like
'cause-
I don't. They've been very confusing about that.
It has been confusing because it definitely doesn't look like the Raccoon City Hospital that we know, where Carlos went and got the cure for Jill.
Well, that blew up.
That blew up.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is, like, clearly, like, it has to be a different hospital. So
That's Spencer Memorial Hospital.
Yes.
That's also an Outbreak.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess
So
we'll
it's
have to
not
see.
that one.
No, it definitely is not
it's definitely
that one.
that one blew up in the game in the city.
Yeah, I think the one that Carlos was at. Yeah.
Yeah.
の言葉通り鎮魂であり、もっと言うとバイオハザードシリーズラクーン事件アンブレアをきっかけに生まれたシリーズ。
So that is an obvious statement, but he's just making it seem like this is really going to tie right into Umbrella, right into more information, more lore about Umbrella.
Yeah.
そのある種一つの区切りという意味でレクイ
So that's why they chose Requiem for a milestone. So 30 years, commemorate the 30 years of Resident Evil.
This is a shot from the hospital. That's very interesting because this is a person who is not Grace, who is walking.
She looks like she has, kind of brunette.
And she looks like she might be carrying like a tray.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if maybe this is somebody who's working on Grace while she's upside down. Maybe that's the sister?
Interesting, yeah.
Or it could be a flashback. This
It
is
could
going to
be.
be very interesting. Or
Yeah.
maybe she stayed here.
Yeah. The whole
This
time.
is the Renwood Hotel. It was repurposed to a hotel. There's a
Could
lot
be.
of questions.
I mean,
don't
you
have
see
the
all
answers.
the curtains and all the, the equipment. So yeah, it's a very
Yeah. It looks like almost like makeshift. Like this is what you would call like the discharge waiting room or the makeshift bedrooms when all of the regular rooms were filled.
and this is like the overflow.
And this is the overflow of where people go, or the standing rooms where it's like an emergency, but they're not a fall risk. I've been in way too many hospitals the last 3 years, guys. I've seen a lot. I've been to a lot of different hospitals, and like from like my health issues and my family health issues and stuff, I've been in rooms just like this.
Yeah.
Except instead of blue curtains, they were orange with floral patterns.
Yeah.
More modernized. But I've been in rooms just like this.
I'm curious to see who that is walking, and it looks like it could.
It's Alex Wesker.
It's Alex.
I'm just kidding.
It also looks like it is in a cutscene as well.
It
so we
does.
mentioned cutscenes. So
That doesn't look like a field of view, like a first person watching her. It looks like somebody, like it would cut to her the other side of the door. When
yeah,
she
and
goes
it's
through.
panning. Yeah. I want it to live up to the 30 years, which hopefully it does. Okay, so here we have the creator message 1, which was put up actually after the Capcom Spotlight event. So we actually get into more details. Let's continue and break some more stuff
and
down.
Just as a side note, there might be other creator messages. That's why this is numbered. None of them have gone up yet, so we're not sure. If you do find them, send them to us on Discord.
Yeah,
and,
let
and
us
we'll
know.
Watch them.
We looked.
We
and
look,
this
and we
was
will continue to look every hour. But
This was the only one on the portal.
we
this
waited a
one.
little bit to see if there was another one coming, and it's just not coming. So we're gonna just finish the video.
It's also
We're gonna-
fun to know that the website crashed and we
Yeah,
couldn't get
of
onto the
course.
portal. And then when we finally got on the portal, this is the one that was there.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Here we go.
Creator message number 1. Some of the stuff is repeated, so just bear with us. But they also show new information.
いろんな、要素を詰め込むってことは、できたと思います。
We managed to pack a lot into this game.
まあ実際我々もこのタイトルのごく初期では、いろんなシステム
That's one of their Resident Evil 7 typos.
Yeah.
Or Village
Now,
typos.
what he's about to say is going to be crazy because they're about to show us something that I was not expecting.
The next guy.
よく噂されてますけど
You might have heard some of the rumors. Yeah, we
オン
have.
ラインのバイオハ
Things like online Resident Evil or an open world Resident
ザ
Evil.
オープンワールドバイオハザードですそういったところを
Okay. So literally what we're seeing here, this looks like an Outbreak online game.
It does.
Now,
Yeah.
you could see it's early in testing. It's over the shoulder. You could see your teammate getting grabbed by a zombie.
Yeah.
And they have a gun as well.
This is probably most likely the building blocks for what they're going to do for RE5 Remake anyway. So they had to have built this system anyway. But this looks like, look, you have LB for skills. It looks like there's skills,
There
too.
were skills, level 1. You got your health percentage in the corner. Probably just like it looks like he's on
Yeah.
caution.
And shout out to them for showing PC buttons.
Yeah.
Because it looks like this is what, if they were going to build this, it looks like they were thinking PC first,
Yeah.
which is good. Everybody was like, oh, that's obvious, but...
I mean, interesting even like where they are. It could be remnants of Raccoon City. I mean, you have foliage around. Like, it looks like it's kind of grown in,
That looks like a gun shop above them. It looks like there's a shotgun.
Yeah. Zombies
And-
are coming out the windows. It looks like there's a main objective inside with the marker. So
Yeah.
it looks like they experimented. And look in the corner. Look. So RB is like, it looks like some kind of... LB
Poison?
looks like a health thing. And then,
Yeah.
RB looks like some kind of poison
Or
skill or
viral
something.
agent.
いうのにを
This right here.
That looks like a tyrant, Mr.
Yeah.
X.
で結果としてですね面白みのあるものは自体はできたんですけどもファンが見たいもので
So
Is Kendo stylized as Kendo? D-O-U?
I think it's
In Japanese? In
that
Biohazard?
I'm not sure.
I don't think it's stylized. I think it's still Kendo. I was going to say, because that almost looked like it said gun shop Kendo.
Now, do you think their decision to just kind of scrap this was obviously for the better? I mean, I didn't want an open world Resident Evil to begin with.
Yeah, they could stay far away with that shit.
Yeah.
Outbreak is fine.
Outbreak Online's type is fine. We're not
An
against
Outbreak
that.
MMO lobby dropper. I could even, I know this is going to sound terrible, but I could even see like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to say these words, but you know how they have like battle arenas,
Yeah.
like Fortnite? I could see a world where they thought, what if everybody was a UBCS agent and they just get dropped into Raccoon City and have to survive against each other and the undead? And the last one, a battle royale, I guess that's what it's called.
Yeah.
I'm showing my age because I don't play any of them. But I could see where they were like, that could be cool. I could see a world where that would be them. But right here, this sentence says everything, right, bud?
It wasn't what fans wanted to see or play.
And they listened to us.
They listened.
やりたい体験ってそういうことじゃないんじゃないっていうところで、仕切り直した結果今の
Went back to the drawing board, as Capcom does a lot with some of their projects, for better or for worse. For this case, for better,
Yeah. In our opinion.
in our opinion.
僕が作ったバイオハザード7はとにかく全てを恐怖のために
All for the sake of fear.
Damn, he had your aim, Anthony.
Yeah, exactly.
He's such a wait, wide right.
ここを歌ってて、それ自体は一定の手応えが出たと思いますし
And we were kind of predicting his approach of this was going to be very RE7.
That's
Trying
what we
to keep
said
it in
early
your face,
on.
Scary, you know.
とにかく怖いという評
It's
価
the same director. You're going to have those similar.
それからバイオハザードシリーズはリメイク2、ゲームプレイでしっかり
Ooh, go back.
タイトルでした。とにかく
I really like how they stylized that.
それから
Resident Evil RE2
Yeah.
Remake 2.
バイオハザードシリーズはリメイク2、ゲームプレイでしっかり怖さを感じられるタイトルでした。それから RE4、ゲーム性自体は
RE4
ですけども、高い緊張感ですとか全体で醸し出すムードといったところでやはりしっかりとした恐怖感を感じられると、恐怖のいろいろな発展っていうのを僕らは見つけてきたのもあったんですよね。そういうところでセブンで作った恐怖、これをコアにしつつゲームとしても一つ前に進めたい、そういう思いで作ったのがレクイエムです。やみつきになる恐怖というのはですね、恐怖というのをコアにしつつ
Now, what I will say here is them putting an emphasis on like Grace breathing heavy and stuff, which I think is in this video. They'll
I
say
think
that
so,
in a minute.
yeah.
I could see why, because when you're just like running around as Ethan, as you used to call him, he is very much just like a moving dildo. Like he's very like not expressive unless like scripted events happen.
Then he has a reaction.
Then he has a reaction. It's not like Leon where like you'll kill somebody and randomly he'll say something. Like in RE4 remake.
Nighty night nights.
Yeah, Nighty Night Nights. Which that's scripted, but
Yeah.
there's some times where he'll kill something in RE4 remake and Leon will say something.
Yeah.
That's not scripted. It's like it's scripted obviously,
But
in
it's
code,
reactionary
but
to
it's
that.
reactionary to what you're doing.
Yes.
Or he'll be like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, yep.
You know what I mean? Like
Now,
in RE2 or whatever.
with this, where again you want to have that initial like genuine reaction from Grace, that fear, that's where it makes it a little bit more, again going back to why he said, you know, they wanted to go with this direction anyway, was because they just wanted to make it seem like you weren't this superhero type going in. And
More personable.
Yeah, more personable.
More relatable to you.
and that addictive fear is what they keep going back to.
それでもやめられない、もっと先が見たいし、死んじゃったんだけどこうしてみたらよかったんちゃうかなとか、次はこうしよう。
And it looks like she just drops from the fucking ceiling. So if the stalker enemy can drop from literally anywhere, it might have, you know, I don't want to say alien isolation, but it might have similar vibes to where if this is chasing you, it could probably pop out from anywhere. You know, if it hears you move or hears you shoot a gun, it just depends on how they go about it.
That's the same hallway that they show her crawling down from in first person as well. So go back.
それでもやめられない。
See the hole
Yeah.
in the ceiling?
し死んじゃったんだけ
So
ど
watch.
こうしてみたらよかったんちゃうかな
And boom.
次はこうしよう。
Okay, so that is a perfect example of what they meant when they said, which I know guys were reacting to this, but we've already seen it because if you didn't catch our live stream, we live streamed this as well.
Yes.
And reacted to it initially. This is a good example of the difference between third person and first person. In first person, I bet you it slows down, you look up, and it crawls down. But in third person, it's scarier when it just pops the fuck down from the top. So I have a prediction, which will probably come true. I bet you third person's faster speed run.
Yeah.
Because it's probably more punchy with the events that are scripted than first person is probably more melodramatic and drawn out a little bit.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
So like that just came right down. But when we saw her crawl down, we were in first person perspective.
Yeah.
And that's the same hallway. So either this is a re-attack, or maybe that's what they mean by they effectively designed 2 games.
That's what they were saying in the interview on PlayStation blog. And, and like he's saying, next time I'll do it differently. So they want to have that addictive quality where you're going to replay it a little bit different each time. You're going to approach these situations a little bit different each time.
You know what this means, Anthony?
What's that?
We're going to have to play both perspectives on the 24-hour stream.
Exactly.
We're going to have to start with one and then play the other one for the next one.
That people will hold us to that, and that's fine.
That's fine, because it's one game.
その恐怖を乗り越えた時の達成感でもっとやりたい中毒性があるぐらい病みつきになるとこういったゲームプレイ体験を作ろうじゃないかっていうのがレクイエムの目指したものです。
So they're just expanding on 7 basically on that fear.
っていう意味合いもあったりとかするんですけれども
I love this concept art right here.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
局所的に街が舞台だったりとかもします。
Where the fuck are they?
I don't know.
現代劇の中のサスペンスっていう要素も含まれています。まあそういった金属と反射
So metal and reflections. So that's what they focused on for the concept.
ノワールというコンセプトを掲げました。
Metal and noir.
まあメタルっていうのはまあ文字の通り、金属であったりとか、まあ CG グラフィックの中では反射リフレクションを指します。メタルっていう部分に関しては過去作は結構田舎が舞台で
Because metal's very reflective.
Yeah.
I did not like the frame rate that I just saw with the first person rain. That's a little upsetting.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's
But it's
not,
still early.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
still early. Could be 30 frames graphics mode. But yeah, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. The RE engine definitely did have a little bit of lag on the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X when the upgrades came out in the rain. So that was probably with ray tracing on. So on PC without ray tracing, that's probably going to run fine.
Yeah.
現代劇のある、シチュエーションが多いので、そういった映り込みであったりとか。
So iron and metal are heavily featured in the visuals for Raccoon City specifically, is what he wanted to do.
まあかなりフィーチャー
Or in the game in general.
Yeah.
いうところでテクニカル的にも結構力を入れて。
But yeah, that's in Raccoon City. That's all that's left because of the thermobaric bomb.
ビジュアル表現だと思います。トレーラーでも見ていただいたグレースの例えば交際表現、眼球の動きそこ
There
か
we
ら
go again with the sweaty skin, the facial expressions.
Spread cheeks, what?
I know, right?
It's just flush cheeks.
人物の表現が、まあ、これまでもなく本当にいる実在感そういうところを目指して格段に上がったものになっています。
Here we go, Grace Ashcroft.
まあコンセプト的には今までにいないようなゲーム中でも知恵と工夫で難局を乗り越えるそういったキャラクター性が出来上がってきました。ホラーをやるっていう上で必然的にそうなっていった部分もあるんですけれども今までの主人公たちのようなスー
And there we go again, them just saying she's not a superhero like past protagonists,
パー
so
ヒーロー像とした
they wanted to go with somebody who was different.
彼女なりの力で切り抜けていく
Survives using
I like
her
this
own
guy's
strength.
そういったと
jacket.
ころが
Yeah.
一つの魅力になってます。
Or zip up.
今までのやっぱりキャラクターにはない、
This guy's just wearing a dark blue version of Wesker's suit.
Basically, yeah. So she's a bit shy, unlike previous
ちょっとその
characters.
内気な感じある種そのホラーゲームの主人
In a way, she's more like a typical horror game
公らしい、
protagonist.
キャラクター像になるんでしょうけれどもそういったものがダイレクトに反映できているのではないかなと思ってます。
Also, I do want to say, because I already know the parallels are going to come out, that was a very Silent Hill sounding soundtrack that was just playing.
Yeah.
And I think that's because metal is the theme. And so they're probably going to go
some industrial
with a
route or
more
some
industrial,
ambient
almost
noises.
9 Inch Nails type soundtrack.
I would be cool with that.
I'm fine with that too, because that's not inherently Silent Hill. I know there's going to be a lot of people that are like, meh, 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 meh. Other things use it. Twisted Metal uses industrial soundtracks. Like there's a lot of other, not all industrial, but that is the parallel.
Black. Yeah, Twisted Metal Black was all industrial and ambient. Yeah, absolutely.
So like, yeah,
that's a good point.
Which I didn't play Black, of course. That was the PS2 version. Yeah, I didn't get that far in Twisted Metal yet, but it is the parallel, right? Because it's Silent Hill, so it's also horror. So like Silent Hill borrowed from Resident Evil in the beginning. I don't hate this, and I think that this could be what they need. It could be something fresh, and it does make sense for where they're going back. It does sound like they've kept some of the RE2 remake, RE3 remake, RE4 remake sound cues, where you get like the deep impact, like the wobbles, like the the wobbles and stuff. Which is good. We also hear another soundtrack in this video in a minute.
We do, yeah.
And I wanted to point something out I heard on the rewatch, but go ahead.
Okay. She can handle action and firearms, so there you go. So like we made her like, you know, a bookworm FBI agent, but she also can pack a punch if she wants. Timid and hesitant.
新鮮なイメージっていうのを皆さん持っていただけるんではないかなと。
今や愛されるキャラクターとなったイーサー
I don't know about that, but but let's just move on from Ethan at this point.
I wouldn't say that he's a beloved character. I actually think that the majority of people, from what I have heard, when they tell me that they like Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil Village, it's never because of Ethan. It's always because, oh well, the Baker family and the horror was really good. Lady D was cool. Her titties were great. The sisters can stab and poke me in the ass. Like all of that shit. I hear that stuff
more than Ethan.
Heisenberg was cool. The fourth wall break with the boulder punch was cool. I loved coming in with Chris in Village at the end. I love House Beneviento. Those are the things, not me, but those are the things that I hear
generally
a lot.
See in the community.
I very, very rarely hear somebody say Ethan Winters is a reason they like the game, as opposed to Chris, Jill, Leon, Claire, Rebecca, etc., 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 Barry, etc. If you're listening to this right now and Ethan Winters is honestly in your top 50% of the reasons why you love 7 and Village, let us know, because I'm actually curious how many people really actually like him.
That's a good point.
Because I don't really think you're supposed to. I think that the developer intention is you're supposed to forget you're Ethan, and you're supposed to think you're you, is what they kind of went for.
Yeah.
So, I don't agree with that. But it's their baby. It's their character. If it was my character, I'd also say it was a beloved character, even if it wasn't true. So, I respect Kumazawa's hustle here.
Yeah.
そうだったように本作のグレースもよりプレイヤーに愛していただけるようなキャラクターに仕上がってきている。
He's not going to come on here and be like, people fucking hated Ethan, so they're going to hate Grace too.
Exactly, yeah.
He's going to be positive. So, I respect it.
As the story progresses, you'll learn more about Grace's circumstances, which I hope we do. You're very curious. Circumcision
仕打ちみたいなものもそこに感情移入してしまったりだとか、そういったところで、プレイヤーに、共感をよりこう
I think we'll already connect with her more than Ethan, but that's my guess.
Yeah, I'm not a woman, so I'm not going to connect with her completely, but I'm going to connect with her on the level of we all have somebody that we've lost. And to witness it at a young age, like a teenager age, sucks. But also, it like her going to Raccoon City means more to her because her mother lived through it.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be like you and I going to like Chernobyl. We know the gravity of what is actually there.
Yeah.
Or like, any of the nuclear wastes. Like, No thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
You know, like I connect with her fear because I have had fears, you know?
Yeah.
Ethan's like, I don't know. I guess you could argue, but I don't have kids, so he was set up very unrelatable in a situation where you're supposed to be relatable. Nobody just randomly finds out their girlfriend has been missing for 2 years. Their wife is on a farm and just calls his best friend. It's like me calling you, or you calling me and being like, oh, hey, dude, you remember how Callie went missing? Dude, she's in New England.
I found her.
Wow,
That's great, dude.
Oh, really? That's awesome. Doesn't offer to go with him. Worst friend ever. The guy whoever Ethan was talking
Whoever
to.
the fuck that was.
It's probably the guy in the chair in this game.
Yeah, it was him. Oh,
But
yeah,
I'm
that's
just saying.
great,
Sorry,
man.
I'm not shooting on Seven in Village. I'm just saying, like, I expect more from Grace. What about you?
I do. I think that this is going to be a character that we can relate to in those aspects of loss and trying to conquer something, trying to overcome the past, you know, and also trying to unravel more things just to make it make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think they can easily make her a lot more enjoyable than Ethan in many ways. And here they go talking about how her hairstyle is unique. It's short but soft.
シリーズの
And
中で
literally
珍
that's
しい
what they say.
ちょっとまあショートカットだけれども
I guess as opposed to short and rough.
I guess.
たるキャラク
Or
ター
sharp.
She has wavy hair and it adds character. They go in. They're like, we care about the horror, but this hair right
They
now.
haven't cared about this kind of like hair like this since Leon.
Yeah.
癖っ気のような結構
They
特徴
did
があ
have
り
a
まして
lot of layers to Leon's hair.
で、今回キャラクター性を掘り下げていくときに髪の毛で、そういった部分を、まあ、
We wondered
Right
if
there.
we could express that through her hair.
表現できないかなというところで、ああいった髪型
You hear the
That's
song?
the RPD.
It's the RPD. That's what I was gonna say.
It is the RPD.
Back it up so they can hear
Bang,
it. It's the
bang.
RPDs, but it's
new.
remixed.
Yeah, it's new.
Or it's the version used in the remake soundtrack. I'm thinking it's the remake track slower because that's what's going to play when you're in the RPD.
when it goes in, it kicks
It's
in.
like
oh,
a
dude.
more-
That's going to give me goosebumps just
like a more
walking in.
haunting
Yeah.
version of an already haunting melody.
Yeah, that almost gives me goosebumps just thinking about it.
デザイン自体は
Hear it?
Yeah.
Oh God, they got the horns
They got
back.
the horns.
Step on the goose.
She does look more like Alyssa in
She does.
these concept sketches.
まあ簡
here.
単ではあるんですけれども、これを実際に 3D でやるとなるとかなり大変で、プロの方を呼んで、
They got the wig.
実際に
They got,
Capcom discovers women's hair for the first time. It was very difficult to make her hair.
she's upside down. We got to make sure this hair
We
is.
hired a wig artist.
They turned the wig upside down to make it.
癖気のある人間が逆さまになった時
It was so
どういうふうに
difficult. We had to take our other B team's hair physics that they spent 3 years. That's why it got delayed. For 3 years, they spent 3 years making the hair, the thing called strand.
Yes, strands of hair.
And we put that in, and we were finally happy. We're shooting on this but it's just funny
It's
how
just
much.
funny.
髪の毛って流れる
They're about to mention the
そういったも
pragmata
のを
right
一
here.
つ一つやっていったっていうイメージですね。まあ実は CG で近しい形までは行ったんですけれども、その先にどうしてもクオリティが伸びなくてですね、ちょうどその時プラグマターチームでストランドっていう機能
Feature called Strand that they were using for deeper technical expression with the hair.
テクニカル的に掘り下げてまして、RE エンジン自体が習熟してきてまして、他チームで培ったノウハウを取り入れられるっていう。
I mean, it does look
基盤が
good.
整ってますので。
It's as good as video game hair is gonna get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so far.
So they used a strand feature for that.
それが思い
So.
のほか品質が出てですね、ストランドで髪の毛の柔らかさを表現するだけでなくて、追われる、シーンではライターをかざして
Yeah, that is just creepy right there.
髪の毛の向こうに光があるっていうシチュエーションが用意されてるんですけれども、
Light shines through the hair,
そ
so
こ
they're
で髪
showing
の毛
that.
の光が透過
So this is again the we saw this in first person in the earlier video, but yeah, this looks like the child's room or the child's
Yeah.
Part with the stuffed animal and there's a dinosaur on the
する
table.
っていう、かなり表現できないうまくいっ
Right
た
there.
なと
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
It's gonna have the high.
いうところになりますね。
I love it. It was a sneak peek on what it's gonna sound like when you're standing there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for, this breakdown as far as what we got so far. I'm excited, man.
Yeah.
I really don't have anything I can think of like things that have me questioning. Obviously, we have a lot of questions, but I'm not like, why did they do that? Why did they all of their reasonings for why they're setting this up the way they are for the 30th anniversary, bringing it back to Raccoon City, bringing back a little bit more relatable characters that connect to our lore. I'm very satisfied as a hardcore fan. How about you?
I'm very excited. I'm a little concerned about how much Raccoon City we're actually going to see. Because we know we're going to the Wren Hotel, which I would imagine is the beginning, but we wake up in a hospital. So did we get there and then get ported to the hospital?
Where is all this stuff?
Where is it all in relation to Raccoon City? Is Raccoon City the last half of the game? Is the stalker enemy only in the hospital? Because a lot of people would like that because they don't want to stalker the entire game, which
Right.
I understand. So that's going to be a little, that remains to be seen. But I'm excited. I'm a 10 out of 10 right now, like I am for all Resident Evil until I am not. Like, I'm just happy we're getting something. I'm happy they're taking a risk. I love that the protagonist is linked to an Outbreak character. I think they picked the perfect one because, honestly, she's probably the one people like the most, other than Kevin, who's a failed S.T.A.R.S operative. Failed the exam twice. I just think it's really cool.
Yeah.
I think I'm really excited.
This has me intrigued. I think, like I said, you lay these 3 games out, 7, 8, 9. 9 looks the most intriguing. I'm going to be saying that a lot because when you look at this as a trilogy, I think if it took them 7 and 8 to get up to this point right now, that's fine. I just think that, like, why did you keep us waiting? Sorry to keep you waiting.
It's going to be really shitty if this game is really, really, really good. Because... And I know that sounds crazy, like, why would you say that? But, like, the detour to 7 and Village to me, I understand that everybody feels different, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but for me it was a massive waste of time.
They just felt like spin-offs.
They felt like spin-offs.
Yeah.
They didn't feel like mainline. This should have been 7.
Agreed.
I have a feeling. But how do you go from 6 to 7 13 years later? Yeah, that's rough. So I get it. Maybe the number really doesn't mean a whole lot. That's why they keep doing stuff like this, where they're hiding the number. They don't want you to think you have to play the other ones.
We know it's in the queue, guys. We know, but look at this. This is how it's styled. Like the 9 is there, but it's not. It's they're kind of getting away from that. It seems that's just our.
They have the
speculation.
number in there,
Yes.
but they don't.
Yeah.
And I mean, what are they going to do for X?
I don't even know. Yeah.
Resident Evil Zebra with an X. Like a zebra.
Yeah, I don't know.
Xenomorph.
Yeah, Xenomorph. That's our breakdown for now. And thank you guys for watching, for listening. Definitely hit that like button, subscribe. If you're new here, for a lot of Resident Evil content that's coming up for the road to Resident Evil 9 Requiem. So thank you guys for listening to this breakdown, and we will catch all of you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.